Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to another crypto market update. My name is Brendan from Crypto 101, and today we have an action-packed episode in store for everyone. There's just a ton happening in the world of crypto right now. But to give everyone just a little bit of a glimpse of what we're going to be talking about today, to kick things off, we got to talk about this big old daily squeeze that's happening on Bitcoin's price chart. We're going to explain why this is squeezing, what this means, and how this could potentially lead Bitcoin to above $100,000. Now, beyond this, we're going to be talking about 3 reasons that XRP is pumping, and if this big old XRP pump can continue, or if it's actually reaching the end of its lifetime and preparing for a little bit of a pullback. Now, Avalanche, the big old AVAX ecosystem, is having the biggest update that we have seen since the chain actually launched a few years ago. Beyond this, we're seeing records broken, BlackRock acquiring a lot more Bitcoin, and we're going to be breaking it all down in today's market update. So all we ask here is that if you like the content that we make, consider hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and if you really like us, check out those links in the description down below. But let's kick things off here with what in the world is happening with XRP. Because if I pull up the price chart and what we're looking at here, well, it's quite self-explanatory. This is a gigantic pump. If we look at where this was just even a few weeks ago, from like the start of November, this from top to bottom was able to make it almost 500% to the upside. Even after the pullback that it's having today, it's still up over 400% in the last 4 weeks alone. Now, this is a pretty crazy gain. It's one of the top performing cryptos of this month, and it's also now the 3rd largest cryptocurrency by market cap. But this has led a lot of people to ask the question, why is XRP pumping, and is this sustainable? Ultimately, how high can this thing actually go? So when it comes to XRP, there's a couple of factors that we need to look into here. Number one, we are seeing a big change in policy and regulatory stuff from the TradFi side, from the government, and a lot of this has to do with Gary Gensler leaving the SEC on January 20th. Now, for people who are not familiar with XRP, they have been in a big back and forth lawsuit for years now, I think pushing 4 or 5 years, with the SEC, who has been suing them out the wazoo, causing them to get mass delisted from exchanges, losing credibility, and it's ultimately just been harder to get your hands on. So now with these policy changes coming in here, XRP is getting relisted everywhere. It's looking like all these lawsuits are going to be getting dropped. And on top of all of this, there is now TradFi institutions, ones that we have talked to, they're already publicly stated, but there have now been a number of XRP ETFs filed, which means that just in the same way that we have Bitcoin ETFs and Ethereum ETFs, we could soon have XRP ETFs. Now, there's other ones that are floating around out there like Solana and a few others, but in this case, we're now seeing potential TradFi adoption of XRP. We're also seeing that a lot of the catalyst that was kind of suppressing its price and making it hard to get and causing a lot of FUD, well, a lot of those barriers are being removed, and it looks like the future is going to be a lot easier on XRP moving forward than it has been for the last 5 years now. And so now that a lot of those barriers are getting removed, we're seeing a big old pump in the price action of XRP. However, we have seen a little bit of a pattern here where this thing moves up, consolidates, moves up, consolidates, moves up. And, during this next consolidation phase, it could be something to potentially keep an eye on. However, it already has ran quite a bit to the upside. Now, if we look at Bitcoin, for example, there's a big old squeeze that's happening on this end too, right? Because we can see that Bitcoin has been forming these lower highs and then these higher lows, essentially saying that, hey, pressure is squeezing in here. The zone is getting smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually the pressure builds up too much and we either pop in one direction or in the other. Now, either way that we move here, I think that we could see, roughly maybe a $10,000 move in the price of Bitcoin, meaning that we either explode through 100K or we see probably a little bit of a tougher retracement to the downside. Now, when we see a consolidation like this through what we call a pennant, this leads me to believe that I am more optimistic about the situation than I am pessimistic. Basically, I'm more bullish about the price action of Bitcoin. Either if we break out here or even if we get a pullback, I'm still looking at the overall health of the crypto space, zooming out to the bigger picture here and saying, hey, we are still very much trending up and to the right. And even if we get a slight pullback in here, the overall trend is very, very much intact. And we see this happen quite a few times inside of a bull market. So nothing too crazy that's happening, but there is a squeeze that I think a lot of people just need to be made aware of, because we could see some volatility coming our way into the future. Now, when it comes to the Avalanche side of things, the Avalanche ecosystem, or the AVAX ecosystem, just announced their Avalanche 9000, upgrade is what we can call it. And this is going to be a big deal because they are saying that this is supposed to be the biggest update that Avalanche has had, or here in their words, the biggest network upgrade since the protocol itself has launched. Now, this is going to do a lot for them. It is going to increase their scalability, and they're going to add some new features and stuff like that. But this is a big update that's coming their way. And if we go over to the AVAX chart and just kind of look at what they've been doing, they've been seeing a lot of positive price action off of this news. And AVAX continues to push higher. Again, we like these charts that are trending up and to the right here. And that's what we're seeing over here with Avalanche as well. So if you haven't looked too much into this, again, I'll leave this up on the screen for just a moment, but there is a lot going on inside of the Avalanche ecosystem. This is going to be a huge upgrade. And while we don't have all of the details yet, I know that Avalanche did just actually release a couple of days ago, a very detailed report on Avalanche 9000, where we're going to be covering a whole update on that in-house for Crypt Nation members and stuff like that. So a big thing to look out for, of course, we're going to stay in the loop on this and how this can affect not only the price of Avalanche, but maybe even different ecosystems that could benefit off of something like this as well. So big old update coming out from Avalanche that we're going to cover more about. In other news, we've seen that Pump.fun reaches their monthly revenue peak with $93 million in November. This means that their cumulative revenue is over $240 million. Now, if you're not familiar with what Pump.fun is, this is pretty much the primary protocol or project that is creating all these meme coins. So meme coins have been really big here lately. And the way that you create these, about 99% of them, is it all goes through Pump.fun. They make it super easy to create all of these. And because of this, they have exploded. They've gained a lot of market share, and they are native to the Solana ecosystem. And they run a lot of their stuff through Radium. So Solana and Radium have been benefiting off of this. And of course, Pump.fun is just crushing it with over $93 million in monthly revenue just for the month of November. So Solana ecosystem is still very hot. We're seeing a lot of meme coin dominance that's happening over there. And this is definitely something to continue to keep on your radar moving forward because, again, there's a lot of activity happening inside of the Solana ecosystem. And this just goes to show and prove that these crypto projects can produce a lot of revenue, and they're not just something that is all theory, not magic internet money. It's like, no, these things are producing quite a bit of revenue, and it's something to take note of. Now, and one of the final things that I want to talk about here, BlackRock's spot ETF has now surpassed 500,000 Bitcoin in total assets under management. And this is a big deal because BlackRock has really exploded onto the scene here and become one of the largest holders of Bitcoin in the world. And you can see this chart here where they exploded kind of in January, went sideways for a bit, and now they're just skyrocketing with how much Bitcoin that they've accumulated. But this is less than a 1 year window. And I want everyone to think about that for a second, because in less than a year, they were able to accumulate 500,000 Bitcoin. The max amount of Bitcoin that can ever be in supply is 21 million. Several million of that has already been lost. So, realistically here, BlackRock has accumulated a huge part of the total Bitcoin that's circulating out there. Bitcoin is leaving exchanges. It's becoming more rare. And a lot of this is just pushing the price further and further to the upside. Now, it's funny because we've talked to some of these ETF providers, and they expect ETF inflows to increase for next year, which means that whatever we've seen, they believe that we are going to see more Bitcoin enter into these ETFs, more Bitcoin removed from supply and go into these things over the course of the next year. And of course, that could certainly have some good positive impact on the price of Bitcoin, but some of these other cryptos as well, as the entire industry becomes more and more mainstream. So there's a lot of things to kind of keep in touch with here because there's a lot going on in the great world of crypto. But you better believe that we're going to continue to keep everyone in touch to what's going on. So if you haven't already, consider hitting that like button, consider hitting that subscribe button. We're going to have monthly updates just like this one every single week, and we want everyone to stay in touch. Now, if you are new here and you want to get plugged into a great crypto community, we got a lot of them. We can actually check out some of the links in the description down below. We got a book that you can check out from my good old buddy Bryce Paul called The Crypto Revolution. And then we have another great place called Crypt Nation, where if you're just looking to have a crypto community, talk to people about stuff, bounce off ideas, see what other people are looking at and thinking, Crypt Nation is going to be one of the best places to do it. And so you can go ahead and check us out over there as well. But that's going to wrap us up, everyone. Thank you all for watching, and we're going to see all of you at the same time, same place next week.